can't breathe.
The killing of George Floyd sparking ongoing protests across the country, including here in Detroit. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer proposing police reform, including requiring the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards to re-examine recruiting, hiring, training, and retention requirements for officers, required implicit bias and de-escalation training, and urging a duty to intervene policy, which Southfield Police Chief Elvin Barron has already implemented.
If you're there, if you're witnessing this, and you fail to have the courage, I'm gonna say it again, fail to have the courage to intervene, you will be held accountable.
Governor Whitmer tweeting Wednesday, "These are positive steps, but until black mothers share the same set of concerns as white mothers when their kids leave their homes, we have work to do."
Live outside the sheriff's office where the sheriff played body cam video of that incident. So, Jim,
I just want to make sure that we're really clear in terms of what our intent is. We're not deciding right or wrong in any of this. There are cases pending, criminal cases pending.
The sheriff says he wants to maintain trust with the community and is showing what went down just after midnight Tuesday morning. The video that has gone viral shows Shatina Grady being hit while taken into custody. Body cam video shows how a deputy was bitten during that confrontation, and the woman is heard saying she will do it again.
So he said it again, she's biting me.
Detroit Police Chief James Craig releasing video of the deadly shootout to set the record straight, saying it wasn't his officers who opened fire first.
So with that, we can play video one. So stop here for a moment. So what you see here.
Then this year, prosecutor Kim Worthy put out this list that her office would no longer take the testimony of these officers found to be corrupt.
Accountability and public trust within our law enforcement community and its administration.
Sunday night, officers with the Louisville Metro Police Department and members of the National Guard shot and killed 53-year-old David McAtee. In Kentucky, protests are continuing in Louisville. And now the city's police chief is fired after it was revealed officers involved in a deadly shooting did not activate their body cameras.
In the Breonna Taylor case, the judge ordered the grand jury documents and recordings to be released, and that new body cam video from right after the fatal shooting in her home, raising new questions about police conduct.
According to Vice News, this video shows ex-officer Brett Hankeson returning to Taylor's apartment before the PIU arrived, just after the shooting, instead of being escorted away and isolated as department policy requires. On Monday, Hankeson pleading not guilty to 3 counts of first-degree wanton endangerment, not for Taylor's death, but for firing through a wall into a neighboring apartment. Another body cam video obtained by Vice shows the moment when Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is placed under arrest.
Walk back, Allison, this dog!
Walker was initially charged with attempted murder for shooting one of the police officers conducting the raid, but the charges were dropped. His attorney says Walker was terrified and fired a warning shot because he never heard police identify themselves.
If you have a reasonable fear that someone is about to use deadly force, you are allowed to act first.
One witness initially corroborated Walker's account, agreeing police did not announce themselves in a phone interview a week after the shooting. The recording obtained by Vice News.
No, nobody identified themselves.
Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment. The officers' statements about their announcement are corroborated by an independent witness.
The Trump administration ordered federal agencies to stop offering employees certain diversity training on racial and gender biases. The executive order on combating race and sex stereotyping labels the teachings as a divisive and malign ideology. Along with government agencies, the ban also applies to its contractors and grantees. To be in compliance with the order, companies must eliminate any training that suggests implicit racial and gender biases exist. And now, private companies across the country have reportedly also felt the impact of the president's order.
Your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane. that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody else. And he would know.
What is radical about racial sensitivity training?
If you were
against black people, and that's exactly what she did in reference to George Floyd. This video was just so, like, it was just so disgusting, and I hated that I needed to watch it. And I hate that I'm sharing part of it with you now, but I think it's important to understand how easily people can be corrupted into saying this type of disgusting nonsense. So go ahead and watch.
I want to come out and say that I do not support George Floyd and the media depiction of him as a martyr for Black America.
We had people capitalizing. His death is on their hands, as much as it is those officers. And that is a strong statement. His death is on their hands, as much as it is those officers.
For something to happen, they're going to have to face the realities of police brutality, the realities of the need for justice in policing, and the recognition that there are many, many good people in law enforcement, but not all, and that we have to address those concerns. So when they admit that and have some suggestions that are worthy of consideration, but so far they were trying to get away with murder.
The first half of those video clips just showed you just accountability. You know, it showed you, shout outs to Jerry Clayton in Washington County. The minute that video went viral, the cop punching a lady, and, we were in the midst of all this going on, it was easily to just paint every police force, every sheriff department in the country as systematically racist from the top on down. So, what do you think about that in essence? Because I remember your quote kept ringing in my head every time I go back and listen to all the podcasts and hear my rhetoric, and that I do believe in good police, even though that I do think that policing in this country stem from slavery. I still believe in good, people being good police officers with integrity. I'm just curious for you to elaborate. Do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, it's difficult because, like you said, we do have a lot of people who go into the field for the right things, to protect and serve, because they want to actually change the communities that they are in. But because of what our policing system was founded on, it's a little bit difficult to do that. Like you said, it is a systematic thing. And if the problem is the system, then how much good can these few police officers do?
Right.
It's really something that needs to be, I feel like it's really something that needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. And I feel like it's a matter, it's two subsects, you know what I mean? We focus on violent crimes, and then we focus on mental health. They're not mutually the same, not the same. And I don't feel like each situation for those things should be treated the same, but.
You mean as far as like the police response, et cetera?
Yeah, like it needs to definitely be rebuilt from the ground up, and just, I don't know, it's not necessarily something that's just gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be fixed with a few laws or a few added regulations or what have you. It's something that really needs to be started over from the ground and rebuilt. And I think that this is, for me, that's what I hear and what I think of when I hear defund, and it's more so of reallocate funds. I think we may need to kind of just change.
Yeah, we got that right there too. Cause look, I can honestly say this, right? I got a little carried away, but this is the thing, right? I made a new slave theory video, right? Maybe in like December or November last year, right? And I was like, man, the only way to fix this shit is if we get rid of the whole police and replace it with a new public safety model. Now, I said this prior to George Floyd, right? I'm on record saying this. I go back years saying this. So I'm not, being hypocritical, but what I'm saying is, it's like, it's a weird thing because I sit back, not being Democrat, not being Republican, and I can see good from either side, and I call bullshit on either side.
That's the point, though. I think that's what a lot of people don't have the ability to be able to do, is just to see from both sides of the coin. Ice Cube, tear this motherfucker up. You know what I mean? Where he's pretty much just saying, like, I ain't got no love for a cop, you know, and that was back then, you know what I mean? And I feel like it could be, in addition to just an innate dislike of the police, I think like some of it is just a dislike of authority, because oftentimes authority hasn't really done too much for the Black community.
Yeah, for damn sure that, you know what I'm saying? And that's why it's so crazy too, like a lot of people aren't informed, and then a lot of people don't have, you know, access to a lot of information, or they didn't. Historically, we didn't. So now that we do, we don't realize the tools that we got. So, you know, it's just like the Kamala Harris argument why people say they don't like her, right? Like, they might be like, oh, she was a prosecutor, this and that, and then, you know, this, but at the end of the day, prosecutors is going to prosecute. Does that mean that
she did her job?
Right. Does that mean that every last person that came out of law school trying to be a prosecutor or a public defender, does that make them a shitty person? Because they want to have good, they want to win every case. Ain't that what you want to do as a lawyer? I wanted to do that as a lawyer.
But there was actually a point in time where I wanted to be a lawyer, and the main reason why I said that I didn't want to pursue that, I didn't continue to pursue that idea, was because I don't want to be put in a situation where I have to defend someone I don't believe should be defended, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like it's gonna be my job to defend these people, and because of who I am, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do my best to do my job, but if I'm defending somebody who deep down in my soul I feel is guilty, like I know you did this shit, but I'm sitting here getting you off, that's just something I wouldn't be able to sleep with.
Man, and this is another thing too, I asked him, I was like, especially as like a Black person, you know, being a 30, 40 year cop, you know, rising in the rankings, and, you know, them trusting you in essence during a time where they wasn't trusting us. So I was like, I know that he walked into the room where he was the only Black person a lot of times, right? So I was like, how do you compartmentalize the aspect of, you know, every day still being a person, you know, having to remember that this country hate us. But yet you could put that to the side and do what's right for the greater good of everybody, not just of one particular group. And I'm like, that is kind of honorable. It's tough, but it's honorable. You know what I'm saying? I've always, haven't always been understanding to that theory. I used to be criticeful of like Black people that became cops. He know that. But, you know, the older you get, the more you realize we need order to a degree. We can't just run.
And I mean, we need more people who look like us and come from our communities to police our communities. That's the problem. That's the problem. You got so many police officers going into communities they are completely unfamiliar with, and they don't know how to handle these situations. I mean, perfect example. Forgive me, I don't know the gentleman's name, but it was recent. It was one of the ones that just happened recently. He was a father and he had some mental issues. And
was it Walter Wallace?
I believe so. They called the ambulance first.
Oh yeah, and they shot him in Philadelphia in the street.
Yeah, that was a perfect example of that. You know what I mean? Everybody pretty much knew who he was. He had mental issues, but the police officers in that area were not familiar with him, so they just handled it. They handled him like he was a criminal. Right. That was very much so the wrong way to handle that. The other situation, the gentleman, I believe I think he was autistic, or he had some you know the gentleman I'm talking about. The guy
that was walking down the street and they approached him while he was leaving work. He died a couple days later.
Elijah. I'm thinking about Elijah.
Where he didn't die instantly. They rushed him to the hospital. They said that the something happened where let me pull this story up because it was something that was real alarming. They said like whether it was the police officer or the ambulance, they did something that they didn't have the authority to do, or they gave him a medicine that they didn't have like
the proper authority
to you know. So
it's a situation with Elijah where they apprehended him, you know, and again, it's a matter of them not understanding him as a person and the different mental things that he was dealing with.
And that's tough, man.
He's tried to explain that. Like,
that's tough, man.
That one really was heartbreaking because he did everything right. He did everything right. He kept his calm.
Man, Elijah McClain, his GoFundMe is still up. If you just type Elijah McClain, first thing you see, it's a good thing because, you know, his family heard, you know, he went through a lot of legal fees, a lot of that's coming up, you know, because, you know, it gained so much awareness, you know, and it's sad that that's what it takes because it's a lot of most cases, I would say, don't end up with, you know, people dying. But at the end of the day, most cases still ended up with our rights getting extorted, with them, you know, approaching us like that. It's just that there's
some type of violation in some sort of fashion.
Period. You know, and
it's a violation in some form or fashion.
And that's the part that's just tough, man, when you think about this whole scenario, man. Like, you know, I can't even shout out this one thing too. You know, we came off real political. I'm glad we did that just to set off the tone. All right, bet. So I want to ask you, particularly being a Detroiter, because the video kind of aimed towards Detroit in that sense. You know, Michigan has been a top state this year. You know, not only in the election, but just the way that Gretchen handled the COVID, the way that she always handled the ignorant-ass Republican leadership in the Senate.
Definitely been under a microscope, that's for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Learned a lot about this state that I didn't know.
And I commend her back now. You know, I learned a lot of shit as far as what a governor can do and can't do during this term. And I've been watching politics a long time, so I felt that interesting that I seen her do certain things that was strictly for the people that could hinder her as governor. And when I seen that she was willing to do those kind of things, I was like, yo, we dealing with something that's real. At that point, it was moments like that, or seeing like Jerry Clayton. The minute I seen the video of Washington County Sheriff punching the dude, you know, I automatically sent a text like, so I was like, yo. And the first thing he was like, I can't speak on it, of course, boom, 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 because he got this case on his desk. But he was he's like, look out for the news next 2 days or something. And he didn't give me like a specific time frame. Next, you know, the next morning, Jerry Clayton, the sheriff, he was actually putting out, and that's not who I was talking to, but the sheriff actually put out a video showing the body cam, releasing it immediately. They didn't even wait. They didn't let this harbor 72 hours. You know, it had already picked up steam. It was like, yo, we have to release this. We got to be transparent. What do you think about that type of approach?
At this point, it's just like, you do have to be transparent, because either way it go with something like that, it's just like, what do you think the people are gonna do? What do you think, how we think we gonna react to this?
Yeah, on fire. I was mad, and you know.
So I mean, it's I feel like it was a strategic move in order to, I don't know, kind of give a little bit of a feel as if they're active in trying to provide some type of justice,
or they're compassionate with us to a degree.
Like we understand we're trying to be proactive about this. Like, don't.
Right. And one thing that was real interesting in what he said too, he was pretty much letting you know that I've had our internal affairs people investigate this to our full capacity. At this point, I feel like in order to not be biased in essence, the best thing that's for us to do is to hand this over to an independent investigator from whatever federal boom boom boom.
Yeah, it's got to be somebody outside.
He did that immediately. He didn't try to hide the body cam footage. He didn't try to do all the, you know, how they did the procedure. Because the very first day I did hear that, immediately he put him on administrative leave, right? So that's really why I was texting like, I know the person who made that call. So I'm just curious. And that's when I got real into what qualifies administrative leave and not. Are you aware of that?
No.
It has to be a felony. It has to be like a certain kind of felony. It can't be anything that's like, certain things don't qualify for ministry. You know what I'm saying? So like, they could do all this fucked up shit and still, they literally have to give them immunity, or you know, not immunity, but what's the shit? What's the shit that they desk leave? They put them on that desk leave, and people get pissed off when they hear that.
Yeah, a paid leave.
A paid leave. They have to do that. They literally have to do that when it fits, when the crime that they're being fits a certain kind of, until they, you know, it comes back as they was guilty. So that right there is really fucked up too. I think people need to know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like when kind of just going back to me saying that it really needs to be built from the ground up, because there are a lot of different regulations and manipulations within the police system to protect each other. So it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like these are, for the amount of time and the amount of criteria that you have to become a police officer. I don't feel like there should be as many regulations to protect these people.
And what do you mean? They didn't go into that
some type of extensive shit.
Explain in detail. You said as far as like the timing that it takes. What do you mean?
It doesn't, from what I know, it doesn't take a long time to become a police officer.
It doesn't. They showing commercials on YouTube straight out of high school, 18, Corona class. My little sister got friends who was in that parking lot graduation in June, July in police academy.
So, and what I mean by that,
They'll be
with
on the
such
street
little
with a gun by
criteria,
January.
there's so much power and so much protection that they have amongst themselves. And that's a problem.
It is. It is, man.
There's definitely a problem.
That's the thing too, right? Because I always say this too, like, you know, you're somebody who probably run into politics forever you want. That's the type of time you're on, right? I got I have another uncle, the Uncle DY, who was on my first 2 podcasts, right? And one thing about him is he know that everybody's linked together. He like, yo, don't get too caught up on one side because it's all linked.
Yeah,
you know
I listened to that first podcast.
He really, every time I find myself drifting too to the left, I always got to pull myself to the right. And then I realize, like, damn, you know. So I try to, you know, it's kind of hard.
You do gotta kind of look at it from above.
Right, and that's hard to do in most cases. Now, this is the thing though, going into politics, right? Because it's a dirty game. I mean,
of course.
It really is. But the thing is, we need people like us. We need more people who aren't old white men to get into politics. That's not. It doesn't have to be an old white man game. We don't need to be discouraged by not going into it. We need to understand it more and realize, just like basketball, if we pick up the rock, we could do way more than they ever could do. We just got to understand that.
It's very true. It's very true. It's really all about having the right. I feel like the right education. You need to have the right information, and you just need to have the right strategy. You need to have the right plan. You know what I mean? So many times people go into this shit. I feel like that was one thing about Trump is he went into it without a plan in the beginning. I feel like I just want to see what's going to happen.
He was winging it pretty good, like on his agenda. Not like from my perspective, but if you
no
was
plan,
like,
I'm just going to say shit.
If you was with Trump's agenda, he was like one of the most consistent, I would say. He never backtracked on his base. Like the people that got him elected there, he never switched up on them his entire time, and they could respect that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like his whole thing has been, is he's always played into his base. Always consistently played into his base. But he never, I just think that was just kind of the gist of it. He didn't have a plan. And I feel like right now, you know, people are really tired of having leadership that's just winging it. Man. You know what I mean? Like so many of us common folk every day, that's what we doing. So I need somebody to handle the shit, who know what they doing, to handle the shit that needs to be handled. How am I supposed to trust you?
I completely get you. That's like, and there's this thing too, right? I want to ask you this: when you think about it, look at Trump's last 6 months, right? They were horrendous, horrendous, right? Ruined his whole presidency from Corona on down, from the black people shit, racist shit, all that, right? So the one thing, even with him catching Corona, it was a fucking debacle, right? Now, the reason I'm saying that is because if he managed to do all that, right? And the country was still split 50-50. What if he hadn't done that shit? Or what if that hadn't happened?
He would have been straight. That was the thing. That's literally all he had to do. If this last 6 months, you are absolutely right, is what ruined him. If he would have showed some type of initiative, just some type of, I don't know. I feel like if he would have been better off relinquishing some of the control with this shit. You know what I mean? Actually handing it off to the experts. That's all he really had to do. Man. That's all he really had to do. We're going to trust the science behind this. We're going to trust the scientists.
You be doing it.
You know what I mean?
You be killing that shit.
It's going to be great. You know, the science is behind us. And, you know, that's all he would have had to do. And then he could have went and did everything that he's already doing. Right? Go golfing and be like, I'm just trusting the scientists behind this. And he would have been straight. He would have been straight.
That's another thing too, right? What does it say about America at this point if Trump came that close to winning and he did all that shit? Is people, do they really dislike him, or is it his personality traits that scare people on the job, or is it that they really think he racist? Because you know what I'm saying? Biden has said more racist shit than Trump, but Trump might feed into the racism.
I think Donald Trump is the most American president that I have ever seen.
You really might be right, though. And
I feel like
that's a wild thing. You really might be right.
He represents, as a black woman, as a black gay woman, everything that I have seen and known about America, I see from Trump.
Right.
Very loud and boisterous, narcissistic, delusions of grandeur, You know what I mean? And I feel like that's why he won, because he spoke so much to those good old boys, those proud boys, those proud, I am a real American. Like,
I used to like that Hulk Hogan song. You know what I was thinking about today too? I know this is random, but it's really on subject. Somehow, some way, I'm sliding down Facebook and WWE shit come on, right? Or on my timeline, like some old wrestling shit from when I was little. And the one thing I realized was that I think that everybody who likes Stone Cold kind of like Trump.
I don't know, because I like Stone Cold.
But it was something in Trump that you kind of like too, even off your last statement. You kind of said that.
I always found him funny. I always found him entertaining.
That's the point. It was kind of like you knew that he was an asshole redneck. We always knew Stone Cold was this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
But we didn't take it that deep. You see what I'm saying? We allowed ourselves to, and that's exactly what happened with Trump. Trump came in there like Stone Cold Steve Austin and fucked.
Pretty much. That's exactly what he did. He came in like listen up, bitches. This is what's about to happen. We gonna
he put them on their head.
On some pimp shit. We about to build this motherfucking wall. I don't give a fuck what y'all got to say. I'm about to sign all of this shit. Everybody get a pen, because I'm signing so many executive orders, y'all ain't gonna know what to do with the bitches. Like, he really did. And from what I hear a lot of people say who do support Trump, one of the reasons why they support him so much is because we need a strong leader. We need a strong America needs a strong president.
Or a leader that just comes off strong, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that right there, he can't be really as I'm trying to figure out, either he think we're dumb and we believe it, or he's really buying into his own bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's a little bit of both.
That's insulting then. You know what I'm
saying? I really
saying?
think it's a little bit
I would
of both,
rather his complex be the problem, and his narcissism just is the reason that he just can't listen to nobody. But if you think that we're that dumb,
but he's smart though. That's the thing. I feel like that narcissism does come from a point of actual intellect. I don't think he's as dumb as he tried to make himself seem. You know what I mean? Like, even like, he knows what he's doing.
I don't think he would have got that far if he did. You know what I'm saying? If he was really dumb, he wouldn't have got this far.
No, he knows what he's doing, and I do feel like there's probably like I feel with this whole thing that he didn't necessarily feel that I don't know. I feel like a part of him felt like he was just going to win without a problem, but I think a part of him felt like he wasn't, which is why he was so adamant about getting the proper representation for the Supreme Court. Why he wanted to get those judges so bad, and why he wanted to make sure that he's got people in every little subsect, so in case this happens, he's got an easy way to fight it.
Listen, look, and that right there, I was so blue off the last week or two. Like, why is they trying so hard to get Amy Colbert in the motherfuckers nominated or her process already? Like,
they was like, no.
Fuck the election. We trying to get her on there. They caught Corona trying to get her in there. You see what I'm saying? That's why he caught Corona landed. So that's that's some silly shit right there. That's silly. That is wild, man. So look,
and I feel like there was a reason behind it. He wanted to get that bitch in, so he.
Do you think that everybody plays good cop, bad cop, like every politician? Like, have you ever heard, like, do you have any politicians you hate? Because I do. I'm not going to discredit no rappers or no artists or no shit like that, right? Because I personally relate to them, so I don't care how dumb or stupid they may be. I might say they dumb or something, but I'm not going to just discredit them. But it is 3 politicians I really can't stand, and I will always defend this. Lindsey Graham, I can't stand him. Carolina, right? Ted Cruz. Can't stand Ted Cruz. And who else? Tim Cotton. Tim Cotton said that slavery was a necessary injustice or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think I heard that. I heard that.
Couldn't take that. He just got him and everybody I'm naming just got reelected too. So it's still the justice cannot stop. We need motherfuckers still protesting, still at it, because we still got shit shows like that in office. Yeah. And then last but not least, Mitch McConnell. Oh my God! But let me tell you, Mitch McConnell's smarter than the rest of them. He's the one who won't let nobody else's bullshit reflect on him. His narcissism is the best, because he won't let Trump's bullshit reflect on the Republicans. He know how to distance himself just enough to where he still supports Trump, but he's not gonna let Trump bullshit reflect. And I think that the way he's played it this entire election or the entire administration 4 years was so deep, the way the Republican leader played dealing with Trump. He was technically the leader of the party for 4 years, Trump, right? But not for real. So the way that they worked with him and allowed a nigga who's so narcissistic to feel like he was in charge, but he really wasn't, was incredible, because nobody else could deal with him except Mitch McConnell. So that's the reason why I say that he's smart. But besides that, I can't stand anything that he stand on, you know what I'm saying?
I don't really have any type of feeling towards any politician, because I really feel like the entire system is just
fucking bullshit, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
What about the new ones, man?
I feel like they all too.
Alexander Cortez, you think everybody? You think Rashida? What about Cori Bush? The
important ones, the ones that we see that are not necessarily. I won't say the new ones, because I do feel like, again,
I love Elizabeth Warren.
I know you're adamant about me going into
you should do
politics.
Go ahead.
But
it be the
you know
ones
what I mean?
that
I
don't
won't necessarily say all, but I do feel like the important ones, the ones that are in positions to control things, I just feel like they're bullshit, and I feel like they have other agendas that they are really pushing that aren't shown. I feel like probably about, and again, when I say the important ones, the majority of the important ones, probably about 85% of them, I feel like are snaky.
Right. I mean, I feel you, because you got to be snaky to get there, right? And on that note, right, let's talk about this.
And again, it's systematic. This is just the way our system is ran.
Let's talk about this too, right? On that note, because it's not even so Illuminati or so. It's just simple, right? Think about this. I might have a great one. That what if you just take DJ Academic, right, with his platform and the way he worked with Complex, right? I know that there are certain things that DJ Academic is like, whoa, that Complex say be like, boom, but they don't cut ties, because why? It doesn't fuck their bottom line up, and it doesn't fuck with their allies. Now the ally aspect, think about this. What if Joe Budden signs the Cash App, right? And next thing you know, he says some shit about Microsoft and the systems, the shit that we was talking about last episode. But what if we found out that Cash App was owned by Microsoft?
Right.
So at that point in time, this shit is shut down. I think it's more so of that shit happening across every industry than anything.
Yeah, it always goes back to the dollar, because again, going back to his systematic, America is a capitalist country. Everything that we do is ran by the dollar.
Exactly.
And so we have to keep in mind, when we're trying to get things accomplished on a lower level, we have to kind of keep that in mind, because no matter what we present to them, whatever solution, is not really going to shift or change anything until we start to fuck the money up, or we present them with an option that works for us and it works for their bottom line too.
Yeah. Look, what do you think? You think that Joe Biden, whole ass, is finna pull Gretchen into the cabinet? Is she gonna leave us? Or
nah.
I think she might be prime real estate for, because you know why? If she leaves, Michigan's gonna have their first black governor.
But I don't know. I feel like she was kind of, at one point in time, I think she was prepping, or they were kind of trying to prime us to say she was going to be the VP nomination.
Right. She was credible, but if she was black, she would have took it.
Yeah, I feel like eventually she could be this whole little, just this little 6 months, the way she handled it is a perfect representation, a perfect example of how she would be in a higher level of power.
I admire that. That means they would get her out of here. That means that the powers to be, but I respect those kind of people. And that's what I'm saying. We need those kind of people to be in office. People that understand that I do got to play politics in order to get here, right? But what I'm telling you is, I'm not about to kill my people, though. Or I'm not about to or risk my or think that I might do some fuck shit to save my success. She was this close to getting out of here as governor off that Supreme Court shit. People don't even realize that. She shut up for a real minute after that.
Hell yeah, because she had to.
She only shut up twice out of 6 months. It was that, and it was when Trump threatened to do the funding if they don't send the kids back to school. Those are the only two things that she couldn't combat. Besides that, she combated at the highest level, and I respect her so much.
Because she's smart. I mean, what it really just boils down to is morals. After a certain point, a lot of of politicians lose their morals because of the dollar, because of, if not the dollar, their own, feeding their own ego, you know what I mean? And it's just like, to be able to play the game and not lose that sense of humanity is something that's very difficult. I feel like a lot of times when you get further up in the political spectrum, the political realm, you know, you kind of have to teeter that a little bit more.
Or even a business firm. You might have to do business with a motherfucker who's shit because they the ones with the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if so if my business finna crash, right? I'm $3 million in the hole, and then next thing you know, some dude who's a drug dealer who I know is in trafficking and doing all this other shit, scamming all this, and he's like, yo, I give you $5 million and you ain't gotta pay me back. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And that's the way shit happens.
Pretty much. You just thinking about it like, I gotta feed my family.
And that's sad. Like, just this capitalistic system, man.
I just feel like, I don't know, I get tired of being put in that position. You know what I mean? I've never been a lesser evil type of gal, you know what I mean? And I'm just, so many times Americans are put in that position to kind of have to vote for this or that, and neither one of them are worthy.
No shit, right?
Neither one of them are worthy of our time. Neither one of them are that much of an improvement from what we already been had.
Right, that's the truth, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally Biden, you know, I told you I was going to go hard on Biden, but the reason I'm not, because I need the Senate. I need the Senate to go completely blue. And once I know that ain't no going back on that, at that point in time, we need to make sure Biden keep every promise and set every motherfucking precedent for every bullshit mistake he made in the past. And I'm hell bent on that. But I'm not going to discredit him until we win the Senate. I need a whole liberal takeover. You get a liberal takeover, then there's going to be no excuse to take care of the people. And at that point in time, we've never been this aware. We never paid this much attention to the political room, right? If they let us down this next time, we know what time it is. And that's all that
I just feel like, how much do they really care? I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but I just feel like the only difference between the fucking Republicans and the Democrats, the Democrats are just better at lying.
You damn right. They really are. They really are. And what comes
They're better at selling the dream.
Man, they so incredible at selling the dream. Do you remember how inspired you was at Obama at a point in time? Obama was bigger than a human at a point in time. He was
as somebody who, I met him, and I told you that.
He was still bigger than life, wasn't he?
I mean, it still feels like it was a moment that didn't happen. It really still feels like it was a dream, you know what I mean? And I have like a picture and everything.
That's real, man. That's real.
And like, it's one of those moments that happened in my life that I'm interested to see the purpose of it, because it was such a random occurrence.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm interested to see down the line, where is that going to come into play down the line in the future?
I mean, what you mean? What do you mean? It's playing out every day. Are you kidding me? That type of experience, listen, it don't, look, you even getting that close impacted your life at every second after that. That shit sent a ripple in your life that you couldn't even imagine. So you're just too comfortable inside that ripple that you're looking for the tangible shit. But like, no, you got the shit from the inside out. So you're creating the ripple. You're not being impacted by the ripple. So I commend you on that. You look at it like it ain't shit, but that's something, bro. I bet you they could count. I bet you they can name everybody Obama. I bet you your name is on a database about everybody that came in a certain proximity with Obama.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
to this day.
For security reasons, I'm sure, because I had to pass a security check. I had to pass a background check and shit to even get into the White House.
You see what I'm saying? So it's a whole nother level of, they already let you know that you're good. Dude, look, you're good already, man. So look, when you come back,
I will say that was what, 2011.
Listen, when you come back in 10 years, running for office, CNN are gonna find those White House pictures that your mama never had. You gonna be like, what the fuck? I couldn't put that shit.
when we went in there, we couldn't, of course, you couldn't take photos, you couldn't take any of that.
Right.
So it's only one picture, and that was the White House photographer who took that picture.
Exactly.
It's only one.
They go find
and I lucked up because I ran into somebody else who attended the meeting with me while I was back at the conference. And they were like, "Did you get the picture?" And I'm like, "What picture?"
Bro,
and then they sent it to me.
Don't worry.
Well, nobody even believe me if I ain't had that one picture.
Listen, what that means is you have to run as a Democrat now. So from this point, let's stop dogging the Democrats a little bit, because you go at this point in time. But I love how critical you are because they're gonna know that you ain't a pushover or you're a follower in that sense.
It's just to get shit done. The title is just to get shit done.
But you're definitely a damn Democrat. Me too. And I'm conservative in certain aspects, not mostly, but just maybe economically but not really though. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, put it on the grandchildren.
I just want to see a list. I want to see a list because I side with both of them for different reasons, and I side with neither of them for a lot more reasons.
Right. And that's the thing too. I think that neither one of their options be good enough. Or,
no.
You see what I'm saying? So it'd be like that. I want to get rid of the third party system. So either way it go, you could be. I'm telling you, like, see the thing is, I know politics so deep to where I'm willing to bet it all too much to where I can't be the candidate. Because if a nigga say something slick to me in a race or on stage, me coming up as an entertainer, I would risk it all in a sense that would make me good to the people, but I might blow it.
The system, you blow the spot up.
Yeah, I might blow my political career, but I might have a dog ass podcast after that, #1 or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I know that's me.
I mean, but that's just what I want to do. I don't.
Yeah, but you got to touch it a little bit. If not you, then who? If not you, then who? That's the point. How can you?
Not now, then when?
You see what I'm saying? Who else? Do you know somebody who you can say? If not, we got it. If you can't grasp the person who you know, like, yo, you could go into public service and you could kill that shit. Besides that, I'm banking off somebody telling me who I should vote for. If you don't, you feel what I'm saying? And that's the point.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of that.
You might as well. I bet you it's somebody in your street, on your neighborhood, who could make a better city council person. And that's what I'm getting at. And it could be you. You see what I'm saying? That's the point. I just seen a 18-year-old just became city council. 18. He says he's not going to college. He got real life experience and shit. Oh my God, he's city council.
I mean, because that's what it's about. That's a whole nother conversation right there. Our educational system. You know what I mean?
Like somewhere around our age.
They gave me that. They fed me that dream for a good bit of time. Go to college 4 years. We're gonna go out after them 4 years. You're gonna get you a good job.
Oh man. On that note, right? Look, you know the greatest conspiracy on that note is this. How is it that in a recession, all the shit that's going on, the jobs, boom, 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 artificial intelligence coming, everything that's happening, people are still taking those loans, going to school, even though that it might be a temporary fix and where, like, this shit might be in service for the next 2-3 years, but whatever I'm doing for the 2-3 years, next 2-3 years, I need it to benefit me for the long term.
Yeah, for real. And if that's not it,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's just it's too much of a roll of the dice with school.
Man, doctors about to be out of here in a minute. Like, a lot of them.
And that's what I was going to school. I was jumping back and forth. Back and forth to, I think first I said I was going to go into dentistry. It was always something in the medicinal field. Then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be a radiologist because I can go and do the 2-year gig and then get a job and then
You good at math?
No.
Oh man, you was incredible then, because I was so terrible at math. I knew I couldn't do nothing with science. I was like, fuck.
No.
You was bound to be a lawyer though.
No, I'm my best subjects was always arts, English, and I guess I did good. I told you my professor in college in my American government class, he did tell me that I should go into politics.
Man, I'm telling you.
But I mean, school was never very difficult. I just got bored with it.
That's the point. That's the thing. You can be uniform, and that's cool. And a lot of people should be fortunate to come across people like that who can't be, just uniform in society to be like, walk this way, talk this way.
Yeah, because what for?
You know,
God made us all different for a reason. Why would I want to fit in your mold?